Well, hello, everyone. We are live. We are back once again with another live trading session. How are you feeling today? I hope you're feeling good. I hope you started your week, your trading week, off very well. I hope you're doing good. The market has been interesting, very interesting lately. We had a great session with Victor yesterday, so I hope you were able to catch that. If you were not, go back and watch that video. There was a lot of interesting insights there. Victor talked about how, he has this top-down analysis when approaching the market. We talked about gold, we talked about the indices. He gave us his view on what might happen in the coming days or weeks and even months. So go check that out. And today we're going to see what we can get into. We're going to do our market preparation together today. Well, at least on the other indices, and we'll see what we can get into. I see I have Daniel in the house. How you doing, Daniel? Always good to see you. I have Mr. Duck Trade, Quack. Hello, Mr. Duck Trade. And I have Shivnon here. Very good, very good, very good to see you. Hello to you. And let me know, what are you trading today? What are you looking at? How has your trading week been going? I have to be honest, my trading week started very well yesterday, and then yesterday afternoon, I went on tilt. So today, I will probably stay out of the market. I will probably see, unless, there's a setup that's really glaring at me. But yesterday, I kind of got pissed because I kept on trying to short the market when it kept going up, 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 up in my face. And the annoying part is I started the day off very well with Victor. We took some good trades together, live. One of these trades, I kept as a runner, so caught some good profits at the beginning of the day. And then after, my break, lunch, whatever, I came back, took a look at the market and started seeing setups that I could take short, because I like fading the market. And I kept on trying to fade and I kept getting false signals. And when that happens, well, the right thing to do is to say, okay, the market's not working, and I mean the setups are not working clearly, so you should slow down. But I don't know. I think the overconfidence of the morning, getting multiple wins back to back, um, put that wind in my back to continue to push. And I pushed a little bit too hard, and I turned a green day into a red day, which is something you shouldn't do. But I have to say, even when you trade for a very long time, even with experience, these days, even though they don't happen as often, can happen. So I try to be honest with you guys as usual. Yesterday was started off well, but did not end well. So we're back today. I've had my coffee. I still have my coffee there. So cheers to whoever is having or hasn't had their coffee wherever you're watching from around the world. So today we're gonna continue to practice discipline, stay calm. I've done my journaling. I've written everything down. I know why it happened. So we're back. We're back into the markets, and we'll see what we can get into. All right. Yes. Let us know. Remember to like, remember to subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. And let's look at these charts. Now, we had the PPI come in today at around 8:30. Remember, if you're using our platform, Black Arrow, you can have your economic calendar right here in your trading platform, and I usually have it right there so I can see and have those numbers glaring at me. I've made a few changes in the way I have the layout there, so I could have multiple time frames and I don't have to jump back and forth, because sometimes you'll see me looking there, and when I'm looking there, it's because I'm looking at the trading platform. But if I'm kind of looking around here or looking around here, It's because I have different screens and I'm back jumping back and forth between, the different trading tools that I have. And I think having a higher time frame there is gonna, help me swivel my head less and be more focused on you guys and what's going on in the comments, and have me looking here. And when I'm looking here, I'm looking at either you guys here straight at the camera, or at least here I'm looking at what the other person who's hosting with me is saying. We should have Jane in about an hour, around 10. So I definitely want to see what she's going to let us, talk about. But this week, the topic of the week is market structure and price action. And yesterday, we got a nice look at Quasimodo setups with Victor. I am not an expert in Quasimodo. I know their existence. So that was very, very insightful from him. Yesterday, I showed you guys how to approach the opening range and how to, different levels on how you could trade these opening range breakouts. So we're going to continue to look at that and look at possible trades on the open and trades throughout the day. So some setups work very well in the morning because they're fast, they're swift, and others work best later on during the day. And we'll take a look at these. So, no matter where you are, you can trade. We're also going to look at how to, look at the market, how to look at the price, what it's been doing. We've been doing analogies yesterday, which I think has helped some understand the market from, a real life perspective. So we're going to get into more of that today. And if you have questions, if there are specific things you want me to talk about, please let me know. Now, looking at the PPI came out at 0.5 versus the previous. Wait, this is not giving me the numbers that I want. Give me 1 second, guys. Let me double check here. Sometimes the news here is displayed with different numbers. Okay, yeah. So here the PPI is displayed as a whole number, and I usually like to see it as a percentage, but it works fine. 154, 153, there we go. And then 0.5% versus 0.5. All right. So things are looking a little bit it came out below expectation. So the forecast was here 1.3, some said 1.1. So it came out, below expectations. And, the PPI measures wholesale producer prices. So it can be a leading indicator of inflation. And the fact that it came out below the forecast means that inflation might be cooling way faster than expected. So we might get cut rates. But we're going to see. That's going to depend on the war, the geopolitical situation. One thing to note, though, is that the market has been steadily moving up on bad news. And usually that is a very bullish signal. When, for example, you hear that, okay, the strait is going to be blocked. They're going to, the United States, and we were talking about that yesterday, has blocked the strait. They've decided that no ships are going to traverse there. Well, technically, that is not good news, but the market has kept on moving up. And if the market moves up on supposedly quote unquote bad news, that is a very bullish signal. So we are going to do our trade preparation here on the Qs, and then we'll do it on the ES, and we'll look at the other assets, so gold and oil, and decide what trades make sense to take. Now, we can look here on this is a daily chart of the Nasdaq, and we can see that for the past, so since March 31st, we have been steadily going up, right? And we said later, a few days back, how this low aligned with the March high. Let me pull this up right here. Give me 1 second. Let me change the layout. All right, so we're going to look at NQ. I'm going to put this on, we could put it on a weekly time frame. All right, so if we look here, you see that this low, this weekly low, corresponds to these highs that we had before the drop here. Sorry. Now this drop was when we had the tariffs, right? This was the tariff low. So we've been pushing up decisively, but now, so it's been 3 weeks of steady up move, steady up pushes, which is very bullish. And now we are at this previous support area, which might become a resistance area. So we're going to see how will we react to this today. And we can look at the past for references. When we pushed up back into March and we got into these previous resistance, this is a weekly chart, by the way, we had one neutral week, right? We had 1 week where we pulled back slightly. In terms of points or percentages, that would be about 3.75% on the Nasdaq, negative 838 points. So it would not be surprising to see somewhat of a pullback either this week or in the coming week on the indexes. So we're going to see what that looks like. I see a comment from Daniel here saying, let's see, trading DAX on CFD, watching US index, the big drivers are negative. So while all looks bullish, I would be careful. Goldman Sachs worse at minus 355. Okay, wine may dip while ES may go directly up. Let's see. Yeah. Well, that's actually what I'm advising here, is that even if we don't look at the numbers yet, in terms of percentage and whatever, we could just structurally, because we're talking about market structure and price action, based solely on the price action, right? We can see that we are entering here an area of resistance. So let me put an arrow here. So here is our area of resistance under this previous support area, and we are smack dab in it right now, right? So we want to see, okay, how do we react on the open? Or do we immediately reject this level, or are we able to hold? Well, if we are able to hold, then the next logical spot to go target would be these highs. Of course, this is a weekly chart, so maybe we could zoom in. I'll go all the way down to an hourly chart. And if we zoom in, we are right at those previous highs around February 2026, and we are below these areas there. So on the lower time frames, of course, there is space, sorry, to go target higher highs. So I have a bunch of support areas marked out here, some at the 25,900, some around 26,000, and then some around the 26,300s. So there is, like I said, some space there to kind of go and test. There's about 400 points worth of space there that we could go test. So we're going to see how decisive we are, because we've had a good energy behind these moves, and we've been stepping up. So stairs move up, we form a base, we pull back, we continue up, we form a base, we pull back, I mean a top, sorry, we find a base, and then we continue to move up. So we want to see, okay, what is this going to do? And if we look at the ES, we are moving in a similar fashion, and we are at a similar area of resistance here. Let's move on to the Dow. The Dow is a little bit weaker than the NQ and ES, and that's probably what Daniel was talking about the DAX. Sorry, I thought he was talking about the Dow. So we'll see. because we have a ways to go here before we reach those previous levels. So the Dow's showing a little bit of weakness, and I've said in the past that if multiple indexes are moving in lockstep and we have one doing something different, maybe we could pay attention to it. Now the Dow only has 30 names on it, so it's may not be as significant as the other ones, but we'll see. And then let's look at the small cap, the Russell. Well, the Russell is actually the more bullish one of the two, because the Russell, if we consider these to be, this area to be the lows. Let me go on a 4-hour time frame. There we go. We have broken out of these support areas from here to here. So we formed a top here, but we've already broken out of it, and we are targeting these previous all-time highs. So the Russell at least is looking stronger than the other three. The Dow is looking weaker than the other three, and then the Nasdaq and ES are somewhat at the same area. So which is going to be the leading indicator? Is it going to be the Russell that is showing that we are able to break higher, or is it going to be the Dow showing us that, well, there's actually weakness in the market? We will have to see. What we need to keep in mind is that we are definitely entering, at least on for the Nasdaq and ES traders, entering this area of resistance, where we need to find out, are we going to have the energy to push higher, or are we going to kind of move sideways and maybe find another top, or is it time to give us a pullback, right? So we will see what happens on the open, and the open will tell us kind of where we stand. So now that we have this bigger picture time frame in our heads, actually, let's take a quick look at oil. So oil pulling back still, which is pretty interesting. So oil prices, the prices of oil falling means that the indexes may continue to rise. We'll see how long this holds. And then let's look at gold. Gold continuing its up move ever so slowly. So yesterday I talked with Victor, and and in my opinion, I think we might have the energy to go retest those $5,000 levels before we revert back. So we'll see if we can get enough energy to do that. And silver looking a little bit more bullish, a little bit more risk on, and looking to go retest those 80s and 82s. So we'll see what happens on the metals. But let's switch back to the indexes, because these are the ones we are looking to possibly trade. Daniel saying, I bought DAX, so index bull all over is my bet. Index normally stays strong for a few days, and yesterday was very strong. Indeed, yesterday was very strong. We might get, 1, 2, 3 days of up moves. So we'll see what happens there. I need to add the DAX to my list. I'd never look at the DAX. Let's see. So not sure which index I should look at it on. I mean, which, all right, I'll just look at it on this. This is the DAX on a 4-hour. Let me look at it on a weekly. DAX moving up really nicely. The DAX is kind of looking like the Russell, honestly. Already pushed through these previous resistance levels, settled here, and continues to push higher. So the DAX is looking interesting in terms of Europe. Daniel, let me know which exchange do you suggest I use? The XETR? Should I use the CFD? I see they have one listed on the Nasdaq, 44.61. Is it the same price? Let me know which one to choose, Daniel. I'm not sure. All right, let's go back to our friend DNQ. So what do we have in mind? We know that, okay, on the ES and NQ, we've reached a resistance area. On the YM, we're showing weakness and have not quite reached that area. And on the Russell, we have broken through and are targeting this liquidity up there. So with that in mind, we go to our chart. Now, let's close this and try to see, okay, how do we analyze this? So as you know, I usually have three things I am looking at. I'm looking at level, I'm looking at volume, and I'm looking at speed, right? So first, let's start with the speed of the move. And it's probably one of the easiest ones to look at. The easiest way to do it is to ignore the candles and put a line chart. This puts things simply for you, and I usually look at it on a 15-minute uh time frame, just to have a kind of zoomed out view of how fast is price moving, right? And that lets us know how aggressive buyers and sellers are. And we use these kind of turning points to determine, okay, where do we need to put our trend? And the trend is letting us know how fast we're going up or down. And then a break of this trend is a trading opportunity. So right now, this is our trend. It's a very clear trend, and we could do a little channel because the price channels, it channels up, channels sideways, and channels down. At least in the way I see the market. So right now we have our levels, and then we get this back on a on the candlesticks, and we could see that, okay, we found support here, we found support here, and this is kind of the speed at which the price is moving up. Now, if we break from that trend, and for example, we move down, maybe we retest this low here, we go back up and we're unable to get back into the trend and we push lower, well, that would be a short setup targeting these previous highs, right? And then what can happen is a lot of people would be looking to buy here. So you would see price maybe revert back up and then go retest that resistance. And if sellers have enough momentum, then the price would get pushed back again, and we would go test lower, maybe the lower end of this range right here that we formed yesterday, and kind of have a move similar to that. And this is what we mean when we talk about price structure. We would get sort of a channeling downtrend like that, all the way to maybe these levels, or maybe the halfway point between this. So this is telling us at which speed are we moving, and if we break out of that, well, at which speed are we moving down, right? um Now, once we have this structure, basically what would happen is, well, now we would have the price channeling downwards. And if our support level is somewhere around here, what we would see possibly is, okay, we get exhaustion. So price gets tired of moving down, for lack of a better term. We go test these levels, we reject, we move back up, and then we break out of this trend. Now, depending on how aggressive buyers are, we could break really strongly to the upside, move to here, go retest these levels. This is where people would sell again. It would put a pullback, and we would form a trend maybe similar to this trend and continue to move up ever so slightly. So what would happen now is we would get a new speed of price. So we would get price moving upwards and continuing this bullish momentum, right? So that's what I mean when I'm talking about the speed of the prices. How fast are we moving in and out of our trends, right? Now, once we have our trend of the day, right? Because this is the trend, this is on a 15-minute chart, because we're only considering the trend that can affect today. If we were to go on a higher time frame, let's say, for example, the 4-hour trend, we can barely see a trend here. We're just seeing candles. And doing a trend on a 4-hour time frame is not necessarily going to affect our trading today unless we have multiple things line up, right? So if we were to do a trend on a 4-hour time frame, we would be looking at something like this, and then I would be grabbing this here, and our 4-hour trade Our 4-hour trend, sorry, would look something like this, right? So this could be considered what we would call our primary trend. And then we are kind of channeling inside of this, and we could get some insight from that. What we're seeing is, okay, right now in this 4-hour trend, we are smack dab in the middle of it. Let me put this red, and let's put it as a dotted line. Now let's get these candles back in. Now that we've seen, okay, this is kind of our primary trend inside of this 4-hour time frame. Where are we? Well, we are hitting the middle of this channel, the middle line of the trend. So what is price looking to do? Is price looking to continue up, or is price looking to continue down? And when we talk about downside targets, well, that's why we look at, maybe the middle of this area here that could line up with this, or here. But this down move could take multiple days. So when I was talking about a pullback, that's what you need to have in mind. Now, awesome trades, sorry, I don't know, I'm very gassy today, sorry guys. Awesome trades happen when all of these things are in sync, when all of these levels and time frames are in sync, when you have the daily aligning with the 4-hour, aligning with the 1 hour, and aligning with lower time frames. That's when you can get massive intraday moves that follow through for multiple days, right? And we are in the middle of the trend, so we might not get that entirely today. But say, for example, we were reaching the top of this channel. Sorry, we were reaching the top of this channel, maybe from here, and we were already. Let me start this over. Say we had started here, we pulled back, and we were reaching the top of this channel. This is when you could say, hey, we're reaching the top of the primary trend. We're aligned on the 15, we're aligned on the hourly. Maybe now we can get a massive down move to go target all the way down to the lows of this trend. And this could be a 3-day move where you get massive profits, and you could go from up there around 24,200 all the way down to 24,500. You're talking 600 points, so that's a massive move. And that's what you need to keep in mind when you're thinking about the speed of price. Daniel saying DAX just turn 104 for bias. That is a no questions asked. See you on the moon. US goes mostly in bullish. Yeah, I think we might possibly be bullish for the coming days or weeks, but we'll see. We might get a turn, a small pullback, and then we continue higher. We'll see, but certainly, if we're looking at the price action, the market has been positioned for things to go higher. The market is forward looking. That's why they always say buy the rumor, sell the news, is because people position themselves in anticipation of things, right? So right now, the market is looking optimistic, right? Okay, so now that we have the speed of our price on the higher time frames, let me just put these lines maybe in blue so I don't confuse them. Let me put them in green. So we know this is our primary trend. And now that we are on a lower time frame, now we're going to look at, okay, we have the direction, we have the speed of price. So horizontally, what is happening? And for horizontal levels, we can do two things. We can just look at the candles and see, based on the pattern, based on how they move, based on the accumulation or agglomeration of candles, what happened. So here it is clear to me that we found a base, or we found some resistance, and then we broke out of it. So that area here around those 24,500s, 24,600s, we had the Asia high there, is going to be a base where if we pull back, we could stop and revert back up. So I'll keep that in mind. But we can also use our volume profile, and that's what I did here, because what it does, and when I say I use price and sorry, speed, price. Whoa, it's already the open, guys. Man, I missed that one. But you look at how we reacted nicely to this area, right? We touched this trend. We tried to get out of it, and you can see I had a level here which corresponded to this high volume node right there, which means there was a lot of price action happening here. A lot of people were interested, and we bounced off of that really quickly. So this was a 63-point move, pretty nice for the Nasdaq. And now we kind of, right as we got to this trend line here, this resistance area, it was rejected. So what we need to find out here is, okay, we've accepted price here, we've rejected price up there. What are we going to agree on? Are we going to agree that price needs to continue to move up? Or are we going to agree that price needs to continue to move down? Or are we going to disagree and continue to move sideways? And that's what we need to find out. And for us to find out, well, we need to give it time. We need for a range to open here. We need for price to kind of show its hand. I personally don't want to dive into a trade immediately there because I didn't have a strategy. I didn't have a plan for this open. So I'm not going to touch this until I find a setup that makes sense. Right now, we're just exploring the levels, right? So right now we're in this high volume node area where there was a lot of interaction, a lot of churning of price. We went and touched this low volume area right there, which I don't know why this is glitching. Okay. Anyways, here is a low volume node area. So we want to see, okay, can we break out of this and can we continue higher? And we'll find out in a few what happens there. So now that we have our horizontal volume areas, we have our trend. All we need to do now is wait and find a pattern, find a setup to trade. We want price to do A, B, C, D, or price to do A, B, C, or X, Y, Z in order for us to take a trade, right? We want the price to kind of show its hand. A lot of times it's going to show its hand and it's going to be accurate and we're going to get follow through. But sometimes the price is going to seemingly show its hand and do something different. And this is where we talk about probabilities. So we will have the levels, we will have the areas we want to trade in and out of, and then we're looking for some type of pattern to enter and then exit the trade. That pattern will show up, and sometimes maybe we're too early. So we think the pattern is forming, but there's more strength or weakness, and then that pattern doesn't play out. So then what happens is we have to wait for another pattern to show up or the same pattern to show up again, but at another price point in order for us to take the trade. So that's all we're doing. And then it comes down to probability, how often that pattern shows up and how often that pattern is right and what type of follow through do we get after that pattern shows up, right? Do we get a small move after or do we get a very huge move after? And this is where, risk to reward comes into play, probabilities come into play. So for example, if we have a pattern that shows up every day, but it only works out 20% of the time, that's fine. But on the times that it does work, does it have a lot of follow through? So for example, if we get that set up every day on the Nasdaq, what is the move after? Does it give us every day like 100-point plus move after? Well, even if it's a 20% win rate, if we're able to capture 100, 200 points every day, every time that pattern works out, well, we have a winning strategy. But if that pattern shows up 20% of the time and does not have a lot of follow through, then is it worth pursuing? And that's what you need to determine for yourself. So we're going to look at the opening range because that's what I like to trade. After the first 15 minutes, when price kind of shows its hand, some people will wait for the 15 minutes to pass, some will wait for 30 minutes or an hour, whatever works for you. Since we have to trade within the 2 hours we have, 9 to 11, we are looking at a shorter time frame for follow through. And right now, we are seeing the bulls continue to be in action. So right now, remember when I talked about breaking out of the trading range? Well, if we want a reference, we could look at here. We had our range, we broke out of the trading range, and we continued upwards. So all we're doing now, all we're looking for right now is what would be called a pullback. So we had our initial up move, and we want to find an area where maybe price can re-dip into for us to enter long. But with a caveat, here, remember, guys, I told you we are entering a possible resistance area. So what we need to do is look at multiple time frames, and we have our daily chart pulled up right now, and we want to see where are we on the daily, right? And we are somewhat in this resistance area. So we might have chop meaning we might go up and down in this area, which would require patience. And we're also coming close to this whole number of 26,000. And whole numbers have a psychological effect in the market. Everybody is looking at those levels. So $25,000 was a level. And once we reach that level back on the daily, you see how much churn we had. Here's how much sideways action. We didn't have really a trend. We were just playing around with $25,000 until we broke down and went all the way down to 22,960. So right below 23,000. So we want to see, okay, what's going to happen there. Now, it is important here for you not to get FOMO. It's only 5 minutes, well, 6 minutes into the open. We want to wait. We know that the Nasdaq moves on average 200, 300, 350 points a day, and these days even more. So we still have room to make profits. We want price to show its hand. If you were in from here from the open, well, good on you. But right now, we have to wait for the price to let us know what it wants to do. Does it want to move down? Does it want to move up? For that, we, at least I, look at patterns of behavior. So now we broke out of the trend, and the logical spot for price to continue to move up would be, if it's not as strong, but if it's very strong, it's going to go and leave without me, is price would go here, price would sort of pull back into the top of the trend, right? Or at least hover in this area, not for too long, and continue up. And while it does this pullback, what we want to see is the volume decreasing. And yesterday I made a store analogy. I said what you want to see is as the price moves down, there's not a lot of people leaving the store. So the volume comes down. And that means that we just have people shopping around, looking around for the right price. And then once we hear on the bell, hey, there's a special discount on aisle 4 on the Nasdaq, you can grab it at a 10% discount or 20% discount, whatever it may be. So you can buy it instead of buying it right now at 750. You can buy it, for example, at 25,725. Oh, really? There's a discount? Well, what we want to see is the rush of people going back to that aisle, grabbing the Nasdaq as a product, and then moving up, right? So that's what we want to see. And right now we are sort of seeing it, but we are seeing it higher. So that means people are willing to pay up for this because they know they can sell it for a higher price. So we want to see. And right now they're disagreeing. So the market is very dynamic and we need to keep looking at that. But now if they completely reject, well, we want to see, well, does it stay and continue to hover at the place where it hovered last time, which was around these 25,600s, right? Same thing as a store. So we want to see, okay, what happens there, and we can decide on our trade. Now we're seeing a lot of people exit the store. You see here, the volume is rising. A lot of people are exiting the store. Okay, what is going on there? We have a rush. We have a lot of people exiting the store, but is it a door buster day where we're going to have a lot of people coming back? It's because these just created room for other people to rush back in, or is it a panic and everybody's just getting out? We want to see what happens there, right? So we wait, we are patient, we are only 10 minutes in, we give the price time to show its hand. And I'll say it, sometimes I forget that, guys. Sometimes the FOMO gets in and then I dive right in because I think, oh, I'm not going to have time. You know, people are going to grab the shoes I wanted or whatever I wanted in the store and run with it. So I make mistakes sometimes. And that's totally fine as long as these mistakes don't destroy you. You want to stay and survive another day. So let's see what happens there. Daniel's saying Nasdaq 100, SPX 55 down, and YM 55 strong bulls. Yeah, so far I'm seeing bullish momentum. We want to see. I just want to see if it holds, and maybe we'll enter a trade. Sorry about that, guys. Daniel and I have been working on some indicators that probably we'll share with the community soon. We've been getting some help from AI, and things are looking good. So I actually want to take a look at what the indicator is telling me right now, and it's the indicator, as its name says, indicates what might be going on. Okay, it's just a reference for our discretionary trading. So let me see what the bias is telling me right now. And that's good. We are seeing continued buying here. So this is an area where you might consider entering your trade. Because we've seen, and this could be, a possible breakout area. Or you might want to be patient and continue to wait because you saw some rejection here. So we continue to watch. I want to wait for the 15-minute candle to close and see when the next one opens, what do we do? But again, it might run away without me and leave me behind. Now, let's see, 1-to-1. Let's put our... Now what you have is, okay, predetermined risk of where, if you enter, where are you going to put your stop? Where are you wrong? And we're seeing increased volume here. So this, you might want to scale in risking this prior low there. This could be your line in the sand. So I could enter here, put my risk here, and if it continues to pull back, well, that's more of a discount. It might be a possibility for you to add to your position. All right. So we're seeing a lot of bullish momentum here. We want to wait and see what the price does. All right. I am entering a long here for a possible breakout. And we will wait. This is our line in the sand. And we'll see what happens. Let's check out the ES. ES is moving nicely, showing very strong bullish momentum. Let's look at the Dow. The Dow is actually not as strong as the others. So we want to keep that in mind. Is the Dow announcing a pullback that we're not seeing yet or not? Let's look at oil. Oil is moving down, so inversely correlated. As the prices of oil fall, the indexes should rise. So we will see what happens today. All right, we're about 1 minute. So the idea is you can start scaling in your trade if you have a long bias, right? Because we've seen strong bullish momentum, and now we're waiting for price. The trade is still valid. We have different scenarios of what could happen right now. So let me show you really quick what could happen, and we would still be bullish, right? It's just going to depend on how bullish we are. So we moved up, we did a small pullback with volume, and now we've had volume come in again. But we're retesting this resistance area. So if we're not able to push through, that's fine. It just means people are looking for a discount. So are they looking to buy here again? Are they looking to buy here again? Or are they looking for a special offer, which we would call a liquidity sweep, which is buy right below here where we opened? And we could buy right below here and revert back to the upside. So we have three possibilities. Either they buy here, either they buy here, or either they buy again here. Now, this is what we would prefer to see, is that they buy up there, which means they are very bullish, or they don't even wait. And that's why I kind of started scaling in. They don't even wait, they continue to move up, and it's a good sign that we open on the 15-minute. We open right here at the close, but it's entirely possible that we pull back. What we want is, okay, we don't want to go below a 50% off type of price. So 50% would be, if we put a box, let's measure, if we put a box here, the first 15 minutes, let's see, trading layout. Yeah, this is the box. And 50% is right here, right at 25,700. So we would prefer, as a very bullish signal, for price to stay above this area. The more it pulls back below this area, the less bullish it is. That does not mean that we cannot revert back to the upside. It just means that, okay, price is less bullish than we thought. And that's entirely fine. Now, we are risking, you could risk this previous low, or you could risk slightly below if you're expecting a liquidity sweep, or you could wait. And that's why waiting is important. Now, if you're like me and you're scaling in, depending on how much you want to risk, your risk can be, at a prior low, and depending on how much move you're allowing this to give you. Now, what I'm trying to do is to hold intraday and hold for multiple hours. That's why I'm giving it that much space, right? So we want to see what price does. Does it give us this sort of bullish price action? So I'll put that in green, because that is the very bullish case, right? That is one possible scenario. Another possible scenario is that, okay, price is not as bullish as we thought, and actually sellers are gonna look to get out. So it could start and look similarly. So we have price move up, price test down, price test here, price start to move here. What would slowly possibly happen is, once we get what is called a lower high, so we're not able to push past these highs, is a move down, and we would go and test these levels again and possibly continue to form a bearish structure. So that, let me put this in red, that would be a bearish scenario, right? And you see how at the beginning they look similar. And that's why it's important that you kind of, formulate your ideas. At the beginning, they're going to look similar, and then the price is going to reveal what it really wants to do. And you kind of have to anticipate that a little bit, because if you don't, you will miss the move, right? If price is more bullish than you think, well, you will miss the move. If price is more bearish than you think, you will miss the move. So you cannot wait for 100% confirmation, because if you wait when it's confirmed, well, you've missed a good part of the move generally. So you kind of have to position yourself, and that's where losses come in. Where, okay, you're anticipating a move, you got in slightly too early, and then you get stopped out, or you got in early, but that's not the move that's going to happen. So you are again going to get stopped out, but you want to get a smaller stop than your win is going to give you. So if you're risking 1R, you want for when the trade works out, for your win to be somewhat bigger than your loss, right? And how do we do that? Well, if we are looking at, and of course, sorry, before I do that, we have a neutral scenario, which would be price moves up, price pushes down to these levels, and then it moves up to this, and then it moves up to there, and then it's never able to continue to, maybe it forms a base here and then moves up and then forms another base here. That would be the neutral scenario, where we formed a range and we're just unable to just get out of this range and go find either higher or lower prices, right? So the yellow arrow would be the neutral scenario. Now, so far, I'm liking what I'm seeing here, because the price is staying and negotiating above, and we're not seeing high volume. So we're not seeing this rush of customers getting out of the store. What we do want is for the volume to grow as it goes up with our bullish bias. And that might take some time. So we want to see, okay, what happens there? Are we able to continue to push up or not? And then if we are able to push up, well, what we want to see is we develop a range that is equal or superior to this previous range we had here. So, sorry guys, we want the price to say, okay, you know what? We've bought here at some good prices. We think we can sell it and double our money. So if we bought here, right, somewhere around here, we're going to try to double our money. And we're going to aim for levels that are within this range. So maybe the half point there, maybe this point there. And then if we're really feeling confident, well, we think we can triple our money. So we're going to negotiate levels that are in another range up there, and we might get this structure here. And that's kind of what we got yesterday. If I go back to yesterday's price action, let me just zoom back into yesterday. Let's put it on the 5 minutes so we have to do less work. All right, let me just remove some of those lines and show you. So this was our trend. And I'll show you the mistakes I made yesterday, by the way, when I got on tilt. Okay, so what happened yesterday is we had, just like today, similar price action, a nice move up at the beginning of the day. We pulled back and we continued higher. And our opening range was actually this. Let me get this out of the way. Yeah. Opening range, let me put this like a staircase. So we'll put this like this. And we'll get another range here. So it's kind of like a staircase. And we're just climbing up this staircase. So we broke out of the range, we pulled back, and we continued to negotiate in the range. And you see, once we doubled our money, so we had initial range, move up. Once we got to here and we doubled our money, we went back and retested the high of this range. And then we went up again. And once we got there, we kind of sold off a little bit, but we thought, well, we could do, a little bit more profit. And we got to the half point of this range. And then we hovered inside of this for a while. And actually here I thought, well, we tested this high, we retested this high again, and we're not able to hold. So we're probably gonna, find weakness and go negotiate down there, or maybe all the way down there. And that's where I kind of went on tilt, because for a good, what was it, 25, 30 minutes, I kept on thinking, man, we need to go down, we need to go down. And that kind of pissed me off. And then I had the same idea. We pushed up, and I had the same idea there when we were getting those wicks, because this was us doing 1, 2, 3, like almost tripling our money. And I thought we were going to get the pullback, but we never did. And we continued to push up, and we got even 4 times our money. So if I put another staircase here, we, at least on the Asian session, there we go, we went and then tested these highs. So we're continuing to push up. So in that fashion, it is possible that we go and conquer and continue to move up, just because that has been the bias lately. But anything is possible. And you see right now we are pulling back. So let's get back to our trade ideas. Let me refresh this. Let's put this smaller. Okay, so right now we have our scenario, and so far what is happening is, okay, out of these three, the red scenario is developing, right? The pattern, the price action, is showing us a red scenario. But that doesn't mean that the other ones are not in play. It just means that right now, the price, because we're seeing the volume increase, price is kind of unable to push up hard as we wanted to. But we have a line in the sand. We have this bottom of the range where we know, okay, we are definitely not bullish, right? And that's where our short might be confirmed, unless it is a liquidity sweep. So that's why we wait. We're patient. If we're long biased, it's still not out of play, right? So let's see. Guys, the chat is quiet. I have a good amount of people watching us. Let me know in the comments what you're looking at. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know if what I'm saying is making sense to you, or if it's complete gibberish. And let me know. Don't leave me alone here. So we'll see. Daniel saying, "Oh, Daxi, my only Daxi." There's a reason I'm not a singer. I would love to hear that Daxi in your singing voice, Daniel. I'd like to. I'd pay some money for that, to hear you singing that live. Let me take a look at Dax again. So did you tell me Dax just turned 100? Oh, nice. You can see the text better. Thank you. I appreciate that. We got YB Levy. Hey, how you doing? I'm just seeing you right now. Everybody's good. I hope you're doing well. Let us know where you're watching us from. Vintage Germany 40. That's what I use for scanners. Okay, let's go look at the DAX real quick. Where's my trading view? Let's open this, and then I'll add it to. So you said DAX, Germany 40, Vantage. Is it that one? Let's move it up. I'm just going to put it here with my other futures. Yep, the DAX keeps climbing. So that's looking good. Now, while our trade is cooking, like the young ones like to say, let's just look at the other assets. And we're going to take a quick look at market internals, the way I like to see them. So our VIX is at 18, so not huge volatility, which is good, in my opinion, for a bullish move. We're looking at advanced decline. It's showing us, you know what? I should have some more options here. Canvas. So we want ticker interval and description. Okay. So the advanced decline is showing us how much stocks on the New York stock. Oh my God, I can't speak today. How many stocks or equities on the New York Stock Exchange are advancing versus declining? And right now, it's very simple. Green means go. So more are moving up than moving down, which is a good sign so far for our long. The tick chart means how many In all of the assets that are trading on the New York Stock Exchange, how many are ticking green versus how many are ticking red? And if it's ticking green, it's also bullish for us. So we like that. These are market internals. Vol ratio is volume. So it is up volume, same idea, versus minus volume. And here it continues to tick up. So far, everything is looking positive for us, at least on these indicators. But remember, the market could change on a dime. Now we could take a quick look at the US dollar, right? If the dollar is going down, then the indices would move up. So far, the dollar is ticking down, which is also another good sign for us. Now, let's look at the assets that make up those indexes. You know, the indexes are made up of multiple stocks. So Nvidia is moving down. It's not a super good look for us, but it's not a problem because the index is made up of many stocks. So other ones could be supporting them. So we have Nvidia moving down, Apple moved down, but doing a pullback and kind of holding. Tesla holding above VWAP, which is good. Microsoft doing a pullback. Amazon did its pullback and kind of holding up. Meta holding as well. Google pushing up. And Broadcom kind of above. So most assets are either doing a pullback, holding above VWAP, or pushing up, except for Nvidia that's kind of pushing down. So far it's looking okay, at least on the indexes. And then there's plenty of other assets there. So far so good. We'll see if we can continue, but we could see that we're doing a slight pullback here on the index. So let's see what we can get. I'm hearing a doorbell. That means I have somebody in the house. If she's ready, oh, I like the headset.
Used to it, I kind of get a little like spatial disorientation with it.
Okay.
I'm not used to it yet, but it's awesome. I like
Nice,
it. And
nice.
I
Does it
think I
feel
got
like you're
it better.
piloting?
I put it on and I was like, I feel like I'm wearing my David Clark headset. I was like, this is interesting. Navigating the market, right?
Navigating the
Um,
markets.
Yep, yep. So looking at, I was stabbing at the market today, and I was on the ES, and I kept stopping myself out because my stop was too tight. So I had a nasty day that I'm recovering from this morning because every time I'd get in, it's moving, it's learning the ES, right? Learning the
Yeah.
rapid movement of the ES. And I'm like, oops, so I had to change my brackets for the loss because it was set at $25. I was like, well, that it's like you go in, you
Yeah,
go out, you go in, you go out.
it's yeah, it's hard. It's hard. That's why I trade. I have to trade the micros with these accounts, especially the 25K one, because it's hard to risk appropriately. Risking $50 a point. I mean, if you're risking $50 a point and your stop is $25, it's tricky. But
Exactly, exactly. But I'm checking out. Let me bring it on over here. So something. Oh, it looks so different on this screen. Hold on. Too many things going
take
right
your
here.
time. Take your
Let's
time.
pop this open. So did I show you this last time? Something that I saw, which I love now, is I add on the S&P 500 for anybody that uses TradingView. And you can see, oh my goodness, look, the CFD is leading, which is the futures. So right now, it looks like we're going to continue on to the upside. And you can see that the futures are leading it. So many times you could use it for trading the SPY or trading futures because they tend to obviously work together. But this is
Indeed.
showing, to me, the bigger money is right here hanging out. If I cancel it off, I can see the price action, but you can see it on a 5-minute chart. So we're just hanging out above that, or sorry, below that big money level. We have a bit of a bull flag setting up. We've got the EMA pushing it up, not really pushing it up, but the price action's drawing that 4 EMA up. And so now we're sort of sandwiched between the big money, this pivot level, and we've also got a fib level right here. So we've got like a bit of a sandwich, and we got
Yep.
to get out of that sandwich.
Yep. What I like is we've been pulling back, but we've been pulling back on decreasing volume, which I think is a good sign. So we'll see what happens. You know, yesterday I was kind of making a store analogy. Is if you're decrease if you're pulling back on decreasing volume, that means that you didn't have a lot of people run in and grab stuff and they're running out of the store. They're probably just hovering inside, kind of trying to find what they actually want to buy, and then maybe we'll hear on the speakerphone that, hey, discount on aisle 5, and then we'll have this rush of volume come in, grab the item, which is either the ES and the Nasdaq, and continue to push up. And when you're seeing that rush of volume, it's kind of everybody running to aisle 4 or 5, whatever you want to say, and moving up. The theme of this week is talking about market structure and price action. So that's what we've been trying to do since yesterday, and explain how we approach trades and kind of how we frame them.
Right? And so we can see here we have that bull flag.
Yep.
And now it's just about, we're above the bigger money level on the S&P 500, and looking for that just to take a nice quick run right up here. We do have a a fib level on the S&P 500. I will give you we'll do a little chat in the background. I can't put it out on the stream as to
No
what
problem.
that fib level, where I get that fib level. But happy to share that. And that looks like, hey, we could actually see that we could be heading up this week, maybe up to 696.63. So this
Six
feels
ninety
like a,
six three. Nice.
yeah. So this feels like a bit of a just, they're consolidating, slow down, and we're about to have a squeeze push up into 1015, and then that reversal. So let's see if it plays out.
Nice. So far, looking good.
Right.
I was gonna add, we got what was somewhat of a could be considered somewhat of a negative news with the double blocking of the strait, and when the market goes up on negative news, that is usually a very bullish sign, at least in my opinion.
But it's not
So,
negative. Where else are
well,
they going to
quote
send those
unquote, quote
boats?
unquote negative, yeah.
They're going to send them to the US, so it's a positive for the US. And here we go. We should have a nice run up. We're testing. Okay, we've just hitting that level on the SPY right now. So I'm going to pull these puppies on up. Okay.
Nice.
And okay.
Securing the bag, as they
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
securing those profits. And the ES is actually showing nice relative strength in comparison to the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq is kind of lagging, so it's still hovering above around those highs. So great choice there on picking the ES to trade.
Do you ever follow the mag? We were just talking about it on Trade the Pool. The
Mhm.
Mag 7, mags in itself.
Y- Yeah, well, I look at them individually, when I'm going to take trades, or if I'm in a trade, I'm trying to gauge where I'm at. I have them lined up. I look at, I have Nvidia, Apple, Amazon, Tesla, Microsoft, Meta, Google, and Broadcom right there.
So if you actually go to mags as well, you can see mags. Well, we can't do it on here, but as far as I like to track the mags, which is the mag 7, to
Okay.
see what's going on there versus RSP. So RSP is that equal weighted S&P 500. So that equal weighted S&P 500 wasn't advancing that much today. It was all the Mag 7. So when you look at that, I got something. Oh, my PSLV alert just went off. Sorry, silver. So that I knew we are. It's going to have a nice squeeze
It's
there.
fine. Yeah, silver was around 78 when we checked it this morning. Let me see. Yeah, it's still hovering there. Yeah, so you're saying, wait, I didn't know about that. There is actually a Mag 7. equity or
ETF. It's an
ETF? Okay.
ETF. Yeah.
Oh, let me check that out. I
So
didn't know
it's
about that.
MAGS. All right, beautiful. Here we go. Here we go. I
Nice.
like this rock chip.
Oh, really? It's CBOE. Nice. Looking good. Looking good. I didn't know about that.
Right. And so when we see that, oh, we might stall up here. Hold on, let me turn this off for a second. See how far away we are from maybe a stall on the Camarillas from yesterday. And that is at 690.72. So for anybody that follows two charts at the same time, we got all these screens and all these tools. So I'm going to pull this up a little closer here. All right. So right now it's still advancing, but we also almost hit that 690 and 50 cent mark. So looking at 695.55 over here. Sorry, 696.50 and 5 and 50 cents. Do you know how to turn on the highs and lows?
I don't know, but I could
But
find out.
look at what I got. I got this line. I forget how I got it, but I got the price line to show up. High.
Oh, nice. I actually got it on just gold for some reason. I don't know how I did it either, but
Insert
I remember
price.
you were asking me about that. And then you asked me, what did you ask me last time that I found?
I'm not
You
sure.
oh yeah, you asked me if there was an equal weighted future, and there is one, and I wrote it down. I found it, and now I can't remember what it is. But
Oh,
there is an
yeah?
equal weighted future. Yeah, there is one. Give me one sec.
It's feeling like it's getting a little toppy.
Sorry.
No worries.
Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it's EW. Funny enough, equal weighted EWF. So right now the contract would be EWF
My pen's not.
M6. Let me check it. Let me see if we have it there. I don't know that we could trade it, but we could look at it. EWF. Yep, there you go. E-mini S&P equal weighted. But
Let's see.
there's barely any volume on it.
EWF. So not really good instrument to trade, but what is it doing today? Right? Is this it's not that it has not moved that much
Yeah.
for today's price action, right? We've gone from down here to down here. So it's like 6 points. Whereas if you come back over here, just since we're 6936 up to 6965, so 30 points. So for sure you can see this is definitely related more towards NQ as well. So if we come on over and change this to NQ, we'll see that NQ is definitely advancing more. Let's put it on a 45-minute candle, zoom out, and you can see that the move is even greater here. Oh, excuse me, one day, right here. And we still continue. I missed most of the move yesterday. Uh-oh, looks like we lost Dave. You guys have any questions? DAX? All right. Daniel, do you usually trade the DAX? Where are you looking? You're in the Netherlands, correct? All right, you know what? I'm going to take this on up here. I think we could bring it on up even higher. So I'm not going to limit my profits. Best thing is I will move my stops up to ensure that I do not go red on the trade. However, I will not truncate the profits. Can you guys still hear me as well? ES and major options walls at 7,000 may drop hard. Another reminder is that really on the
I'm
other
back.
that when you have a large round number, has anybody or everybody out there read Reminiscence of a Stock Operator? Have you read it, Dave?
Yes, if you haven't read that, I think you're half of a trader.
Yeah. Well, and it's also the best thing in there, or one of the best comments, is the last eighth, right? That last
Hmm.
eighth is the most expensive. And so if you are not aware to pay attention to being close to that round number. So if we're at 7,000, I'd look at, we're going to see probably, I'd say probably 6,992. That 6,992 is probably going to be a strong resistance zone for the ES.
Yeah, because we're getting close to that round 7,000 number.
Yeah.
Give me just 1 second. I'm reloading my screen there. My computer crashed. First
No
time this has
worries. No
happened.
worries.
I'm glad that, well, now I know even if it crashes, the stream continues to run, which is great. Let me share my screen. One
I think it has,
second.
if one person is in the room, it would continue. So like
Yeah,
if it was just you, I think it would crash, but because I was already here, it continued.
you kept the plane moving. That's great.
Kept it flying high. There we
Kept
go.
it flying. Exactly.
Let's blow it out of
What
that.
is it again? What is it again? Aviate, and then I know there's aviate. It's like if you're having issues, I know there's like a protocol where it's like aviate, so like pilot the plane first and then do something
Oh,
second,
well,
but then do
always. Yeah,
something.
you always fly the plane first. Like no matter
Yeah.
what, you have to, and let me tell you, it's like with real life, when you're flying, you cannot be emotional. With real
Yeah.
life, you can have emotions for sure, but to make the most educated decision, you have to step back, and look at it sort of 30,000 foot level. Okay,
Literally.
so you know what is going on. Here are the facts.
Hmm.
Eliminate the emotion aspect to make the most logical, rational decision. And that's what flying teaches you. Well, flying, you have to plan for all outcomes before you take off, just like in trading, right? You got to plan for all outcomes before you enter the trade. And so that's why my outcomes were keeping my stop too close on the ES, and now it's okay. Right now, I can move my stop up as I go, um, but with real life, that's where also trading teaches you to see the worst case scenario and minimize your risk, right? Because that's
Yeah.
what trading is all about. And so the more that you fine tune those skills, and you also master your emotions in trading, because trading, like right here, we're hitting a level. So, you know what? I could go a little bit tighter because it's likely going to pull back. And would I be upset if I didn't lock one right here? Probably.
Yeah, you
Pulling
need to
back.
decide what's more important for you. Is it more important to, and I've had this battle and I've found the solution, at least for me, is what's important for you? Is it important to take the profit there and then or at least a partial and then it completely continues up and maybe you're out of the trade, or what's would it have been better to keep everything and then it runs up so you make more profit, or you keep everything and then you completely you don't make anything on the trade? What's more important to you? And I know every trader has their, at least every experienced trader has their way of approaching that. What's important to you? Locking in partials or just riding that whole wave upwards, or you're accepting the risk that this trade is working, but you might not make anything on it. I think that's a good psychological question to ask, which I'm going to ask you. I see you're taking partials, so it's obvious that you at least want to get paid on the trade. You want to get paid for your work.
Right. Exactly. So for me, yes, when you lock any profit, it eliminates the psychological battle
Hmm.
because you're already green. So
True.
I could pull this back and I could pull it back here, and I could say, okay, this is a 3-minute. I like a 5-minute better. So I have my 4 and my 8. So I would put it maybe below the 8 over here. Why? Because if you look at the pattern, it tends to ride that pink one. If it comes back, and it comes back really hard, I've given it the chance. Okay, now maybe 691, maybe I'd want to go just below over here, just below the 696 level. Why? People might want to get in at 696.
Exactly.
And I'm also watching to see where is the bigger volume. It's still down below. So do I think it's going to move up? Yes. One thing, the market is always right. I can think whatever I want, but it's how I react to the market, right?
Yeah,
So
indeed.
yes, I've locked it. It hit a Camarilla level. I said, hey, it's probably going to pull back. Could I get back in? I could get back in down here. It's going to move my average up. All right, let's do it. Let's buy at market. Oh, I can't. I don't know what I did.
Did it give you an error there?
Yeah, error must offset. Oh, because I didn't put in a bracket, I think, or something. Oh, I don't know. But see, this
Super.
is way off. Like
Super.
25,000, that's not.
Oh, you probably were trying to put a limit order maybe, and it didn't trigger.
That's okay. Here we go. Okay, so lesson would be set up before, but then if I buy at market, right, I think, okay, now I'm back in. So I can tighten up my stops.
Yeah. So now you have that extra contract, and you still, are in that trade. And I like the fact that you're taking your profit at a predetermined. You had your Camarilla level hit, and you decided, okay, that is where I might get out. I always like to approach it in a payroll bonus type of way. So I ultimately always want to get as much as possible, of course, unless I'm completely wrong. I want to get paid for my work. So I just spent whatever it was, an hour planning the trade, waiting for it to come in, whatever, taking the trade, and we've been holding this for however long, an hour, 2 hours, a day, 3 days, 5 days, whatever it is. I want to get paid for my trip, for my work. So I'll have what I consider to be the payroll. It might be half of my risk. It might be 1 R. It might be 2 R, whatever the trade provides. And then I'll have my bonus. So this is okay. If this goes parabolic, psychologically, I don't want to be out of the trade. I don't want to be out of a working trade. And this might be the trade that makes my week or my month or whatever. And over the years, I've had to accept that, okay, I will get the payroll, and maybe or maybe not, I might or might not get that bonus. And if it does happen, great. If it doesn't happen, well, I got paid for the work. The tough part for me, at least psychologically, is being in a trade that is working, not moving my stop, because I've tried that as well, not moving the stop and having a loss on something that was working very well. I can't deal with that psychologically. Some traders can, but I can't. So I think it's up to each and every person to determine what works for them. But I like how you approach it. It's kind of similar to what I do.
Yeah, and see, I can see that they're starting to go sideways here. So I
Hmm.
set that other stop tighter. I'm out of it. I would
Yep,
like to re-enter up here, catch this run, rather than have two entries right here up against a brick wall.
I agree.
And so
I
I
agree
will,
because this is a logical place where traders might be getting out. And another approach would be, and you have that trade. This is one idea. You get in, you get out. You wait for something else to set up to go target that other profit because it might take 3 hours to build before it gets there.
for sure. And
So
here was that sort of sandwich move we had before. And then we broke above the uh, Fibonacci level on the SPY, boom, it accelerated up.
yep,
So then this is the next resistance zone. Next, after that, we might see that the 69.80 level would be pretty strong. Why? $20 off of that. Uh,
Yeah, that's the 2020. Yeah,
20
60,
off
the
of the
80s.
7,000. Yeah.
Exactly. 75 to 80s are usually interesting levels to look at because, traders are anticipating the whole number and are kind of getting out before it reaches that move. And sometimes it doesn't get to that level, or it completely blasts through it, and we
Let's see.
reverse maybe 25 points higher. I got a couple of questions here. One from Victor,
There we go.
who's saying, "Hey
Gotcha.
Jane, what type of airplanes do you fly?"
Victor, I am not current, but a single engine high performance complex. So I have my
Ooh,
instrument
that sounded
rated.
fancy.
What it means is, so I'm rated for a more powerful engine, retractable gear, and I have instrument rating so I can fly when there's bad weather.
Nice.
So
Did you
it's a
have to
lot of
do the test
trusting
with
your
the
instrument.
the
The
glasses that
foggles,
are?
yep,
Yeah.
the foggles. I got my
Oh, they're called
license.
foggles. Nice.
Yeah, can you believe it? I got my license 30 years ago.
Oh, that was yesterday.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know the 2000? So the year 2000 for me feels like 10 years ago, and
Okay.
then 1990 feels like 20 years ago. It's weird. I just can't fathom that it's like much more than that.
I feel
But
like 2020 was like that ago. How's
yeah.
it 2026
Yeah,
now?
it's crazy. It doesn't feel like 6 years went by. It feels like maybe 3 years at best. So I don't know. I have a distorted, and I know it's not just me. I talked to my wife, and she feels the same way. We, I feel like the 2000 was just yesterday, and we were talking about um, the turn of the century. There was that Y2K bug and everything.
Yep, yep. Always,
Anyways,
always a bit of a fear panic scenario. Sorry, it's
fear panic.
advertising, right? It's
It is. It pays.
advertising.
Fear pays. Fear pays.
It does. It
Let
does.
me get your, because we brushed on it really quick, but you've said something I haven't heard, and I want to get your opinion on it. You said that the blockade for you is not a negative, at least for the U.S. Why do you say that?
Because where are they going to send their boats? They're going to send them to Texas. Everybody just go
Okay.
on over to Texas, buy U.S. oil. Just go right on through the Caribbean, straight on over to Houston. We got some oil right there. Or you could go to Pennsylvania. There's the pipeline and all the refineries in Philadelphia. Right there. We got two
We'll
ports.
see. We'll see. I don't know if that will be convincing enough for them to do that, but I do think it's a smart move in the sense that it'll force other countries that have been hands off regarding this whole situation to kind of dive in and intervene. So we'll see. I think it's I was talking about that with Victor yesterday. I think it's a smart move to force the hand of, some European nations that haven't wanted to participate, to kind of be forced in, and all those ships that have been going to Asia to force Asia's hand. So we'll see. We'll see. Good or
So,
bad, I don't know, but it's been good for the market so far.
yes. Well, if we look at this too, for those Elliott wave traders, I don't know, did you ever study Elliott wave?
I know about them, but I've never studied them. There's so many
So,
things to study out there.
right. So Elliott wave is typically one,
Uh-huh.
two, three, four. So we could be setting up for a big five
The
move.
fifth one, yeah.
Right. And then it's usually an A, B, C, D. So a
Hmm.
bit of a sideways price action, which we saw a bit more, after hours, where it was same thing yesterday, right? So it's like one, two, three, four, five. Well, where's the market open? Hold on, where's our timing?
So a bit before that, yeah. But yeah, that seems logical. And then we have
And here we go.
this flat move on Asia.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on.
Let's put some green arrows. Let's blow on it.
I'm
We
just going
have
to get rid
some
of this.
volume, so we'll see.
I'm going to get rid of this and everything set up. Boom. In with the second contract. And yes, my
Nice.
average is moving up. So,
Yeah, it's moving up ever so slightly, but you're moving it up with the
price
asset.
action.
So you're
Right.
constantly in profits, no matter what. no matter what happens,
Here we
you
go. We
will
should
get
have this.
paid for your work today.
Right.
So
And that's where you
looking
want to add
great.
to winners, not to losers.
Yep,
And you have to get
looking
comfortable
good.
with bringing up that average.
Indeed, indeed. That comes with experience.
And that's a psychological battle. Let's see if I
That's
see
the
it.
hardest one. That is the hardest one for me.
What?
Holding back is and not diving in with both feet is always hard for me.
Mm,
But you learn to be composed with time. What time is it? 10:30.
yep.
All right. Let's
No
see
matter
what we
what, I
can
want to be
read.
green.
There we go. Let me check the news really quick.
Nothing really happening at IMF meetings today. We're also just testing the 691 level again, right? So we're testing a Camarilla. We're testing the 691 level on the SPY. So it's beating its head against a round number on the
Yep.
SPY. And since there's algos on both, people will watch both. The futures typically tend to determine the direction of the SPY, but right now it's slow, 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 and it's like 690, 97, 690, 98. The
Yeah.
high was 691.05, which was right here. So,
Well, I'll say a very slow trickle up is usually a good sign of a trend day, you know.
mhm,
So we might get that. They're annoying for me. Is, you know, I just want to get it and get out for when you're day trading.
right.
But usually it might be showing us that no, we're gonna have a trend day and we're just gonna trickle up, trickle up, trickle up, trickle up. So we'll see. We will see. It's one of those days where if you want, you trade with wide
There we
stops
go.
and let it run, or you do like Jane, you just keep trailing up, and stay in that green.
Well, earlier I wasn't because I had the instant stop outs. I'm like, ah, I gotta fix this. And
Yeah,
I'd get in the trade and then I'd quick try to adjust the stop, and I'm like, oh, too slow. It moved
yeah,
on me.
indeed, indeed. That
All right, here we go. Testing,
doesn't help.
testing over
We're
there.
testing that. Let me see on the
It's
Nasdaq
stronger on the futures than
25,800.
on the SPY.
Let me look at it on the future side. Wait, I don't have my window there yet.
And the bigger money is still down here. It has not shifted, say, to be up here. So that also gives me bigger confidence that we're continuing to the upside.
Personally, for the coming days, I see a lot of strength. We're getting at least longer term into that those decision areas on the futures side. So that $7,000 area on the ES, above 26,000 on the Nasdaq. But I think there's still room to continue to the upside. Let me check out the SPY real quick in the Qs.
Mm. All right, so they just moved their levels, so I'm closing out. It could go against me. I mean, it could go up further, but I see that they moved their money, their level up. So I want to just be cautious.
All right.
And I could do the exact opposite, right? I could go like this because it's been hanging here. And I could be super tight over here. Why? Because I just saw them do this. The bigger money level just went, oh, not the chart, like this.
Okay. So there might be some profit taking right there and some
Like
short
that.
initiation.
Yeah. So as much as it was creeping, 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 we also have sell wick, resistance at the Camarilla, resistance at the Camarilla. The bigger money moved. So it could fall quick and fast, where it just hit the 1030 mark. you know, so that round, the 30 minutes in, or not 30 minutes, an hour into the day.
Yeah.
And the big thing for me was this: I don't want to mess around with this up here and say, oh, no, well, it's going to come back above. It's going to come back above. That's a hope
Yep.
strategy, and that's not one that I want to be want to be dealing with.
We'll see.
And if
Well,
I
it
give
is.
back, if I give back $75, it could be a bigger pullback to the downside, likely down to here.
Yep.
I'll put
Where
it onto
we
the
re-enter.
15 right here. So I'm okay with it.
Yep, it does. That level does make sense, and I'm just gonna pull up my screen really quick to
Go
show
for it.
what we were talking about this morning. We were talking different scenarios and kind of showcasing what might, what you had to keep in mind. And we had, so you see a bunch of zigzags. So the yellow was the neutral, the green was the bullish, and the red was the bearish scenario. Now, of course, they don't play out the exact same, but we were talking about using the opening range as a reference to gauge where you might take profits. And that level represents the halfway point of the range. So it's logical that they could have taken profits here, and well, lo and behold, we're continuing to move up. So the next area, at least for me, if we're using the range as a guide, would be those 25 850s, which would be 50 points above those 25 800s, which makes logical sense. So let's see what happens. We've gotten some volume here on that move. We did not wick up. So based solely on this chart, it's possible we get continuation. But like Jane says, she's looking at these levels. It is not impossible for us to kind of see some profit taking and a push further back. We'll find out in a few minutes. But
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about, like you were saying, when you're a pilot, you have to think about different scenarios. This morning, since the topic of the week is, market structure and price action, we're trying to see, okay, what might happen after the open, and depending on what happens, this is how we're going to react. So yeah.
Well, that's it. When I'm mapping out my trades for day trading, I'm going to look at the bullish or the bearish and have that perspective on each so that I'm not tied one way or the other. I let the market tell me.
You never
Because,
have a like a neutral scenario, because I always have a scenario where I'm hands off. I'm a very bad mean reversion trader, and if we're just gonna oscillate in the middle of that range, I mean, I need to learn that because it happens more often than I would like. I like trends. Give me my uptrend, give me my downtrend, and then sometimes I'll trade inefficiencies. Like I had a great trade with Steve's on CPI day. We had that market efficiency, that wick up. I'll do that, but when we're just oscillating, I will get destroyed. So,
yes,
do
no,
you
for
have
sure.
neutral
Well, that's
scenarios?
it. It's like you have your opening range right there. It's to me, it's the box, right? Don't trade in the
Yeah,
box. Like if you go to New York, don't stop in the box. It's going to be a headache trade. Like, why do you
yeah,
want to trade the headaches?
yeah. It's as long as you, let me get these arrows out of there. If you get that yellow scenario where you're just you think it's gonna trend down and it doesn't, right? And for me, it always happens. I'm selling selling bottoms and buying tops. So
All right. Second attempt at a short here. Let's see.
all right, let's see. Let me bring your screen back up. Let's see what we get. And let me just look at my, because I had another trade on my personal account. Yesterday I went on tilt, so I said I wouldn't trade the I wouldn't trade this account today.
Beautiful. Oh, I got stopped out. 1250 profit.
Nice, nice, nice,
As
nice,
it
nice.
pulled back, we had that wick, right? So I was like, all right, I'm going to jump in because it is wicking. All right. Let's see. No, I'm not going to do it this time.
Yeah, we could wait to see what happens.
There we go.
But yeah, today I said I wasn't gonna trade this the Black Arrow account because I went on tilt and I just want to
Beautiful.
re Adjust. Nice.
And I'll bring it right back up here, just above the Camarilla. I'd rather get in below than above. And let's see if this is going to fade. Also, like I said, it rides that 4. So I'm going to bring it right back to right below this level, the bigger money level, because it could fade quickly or it could bounce off of that 4. Okay, now it's pulling back off of the 4. I'm in profit. Let's put it 12.50. Perfect. Thank you so much. If it pushes back up, then it's going now, it's nicely, looks like it wants to move down. Let's put on a 3-minute. Let's see the.
Do you
Oh, look at that.
sometimes use nice? Do you sometimes use multiple time frames in conjunction, or are you usually bounce back and forth? So I see you're using the 5 minute mostly.
I like the 5-minute for entry.
Okay.
Um, and then I'll tighten my stops on the 3-minute. When the 4 crosses the 8 on the 5-minute, typically you're going to see a massive drop. I also see on the 1-minute chart, right? Because I do use that too. Sometimes more so on the futures, because I don't really use it. But you can see we're hitting the 33 exponential right there. That
Hmm.
sometimes will be a reversal zone as well. I love the 33. And so I see that it hit the 1 over here. Let's see, any other times today? No, it hit the 200. I'm already out, right? It closed me out. So I have the 200 exponential, which look at how it held support, 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 support.
Hmm.
Boom. Then we were following the 15 exponential right here. 15 exponential broke. I also got in because I saw it over on the 5-minute. All right. And so I bounce around, but this really big wick is what got me
Hmm.
to get into it. I just made another quick $75. So,
Nice. Yeah. So we
yeah.
saw we definitely saw some rejection, some profit taking here, and was do you since you trade stocks, do you mostly do you day trade them? Do you swing trade them? I know you swing trade.
Both. I do both.
Both.
Right now, my biggest swing positions are in silver. And for
Oh,
sure,
let's
I'm
talk
getting
about
a big
silver. Show me what you're
bullish.
thinking
Yeah,
there.
let's see. Let's go on over to the silver chart. Let's come on.
Yes.
AG, let's have a little fun on silver.
SI,
AG,
SI, SI.
SI. I don't know what. AG is the, let's go full
Take
on
the
silver. I've never
take
traded.
the take the one that says SILFUT. The that's the contract that shows you like the whole history. I don't know if you'll be able to
All
trade it
right,
though.
let's try it. Let's jump in. No, I'm just kidding. All right, silver futures over here. So it looks a bit extended. We have a, this is the pivot, right? Or
Hmm.
it is a pivot level. So it's hitting a pivot level. So actually, I would say at the moment, I would think that silver would actually be a short because we also have the market. I have no idea what the contract. Okay, let me put on my OCO.
So that's yeah, that's $1,000 per point. So it's gonna be high risk.
Cancel. I do. I already have them. I have
Maybe you entered with your
orders. Oh,
bracket.
there we go. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Let's bring them to reality zone that I can.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go here. All right. Yeah, it's pretty pricey,
Silver, yeah. The it's a
but I
thousand
would
per
put it
point.
just
So
above right here. And yeah, if we bring
but I
it
wanted to
over.
get your long term view, at least for the next coming days or weeks. What we might see. I was comparing gold and silver, and I see more bullishness on silver in comparison to gold.
For sure.
Let's.
I am overall long term bullish on silver, but I didn't like that it had hit the Camarilla there.
Okay.
And let me see what we have going on the bigger money for right now. They have not adjusted it over on, let me pull this over, you can see. So this is actually 1 minute chart right here. So we have, nope, we have, it's riding. You see how it bounced? This is my 33 exponential
Mm-hmm.
right here. And so it has literally bounced off of that down here and up here. Now, are we going to fail? Right? This is the minute of decision. Is it going to be a drop to the downside or is it going to be continued to the upside? On the 5 minute chart, we are breaking below that 4 EMA, about to test the 8 over here. But more importantly, I've got the big money down here. So the big money is still below us. So me going in the short without seeing where that big money was, it was just the chart pattern.
That's what I
And
was gonna
knowing,
ask.
yeah,
Yeah.
see now I'm 100 points in the positive on
Nice,
this right
nice,
now.
nice, nice.
So time to adjust this down to the top of the 4 and the 8 up here. This is a 3 minute, so it's a little tighter. And it could bounce off of this 15 on the 3 minute, which is going to be like that 33 on the one.
Okay. So you're using the pivot points, the pivot line, sorry, the big money
Yeah,
level and your
all
moving
sorts of stuff.
averages to determine. So, you know, we're talking about price action and how we're entering and exiting trades this week. So I just, for everybody who's watching, since your approach is kind of different from mine, I totally understand it, but it's different from mine. You know, I just want to clarify what you're using to determine that trade because everybody saw you enter, everybody saw you make that quick $100, but it's like, okay, how did she know that? How did she know to enter? So what I'm gathering, unless I'm wrong, is you saw that pivot there. You saw the rejection of that pivot point. You saw that we were starting to turn around your moving averages, which I can't remember exactly what they are,
4,
and
8,
you
15,
saw.
33. Yeah.
I'm sorry, you. I know there's 33 because I
Yeah,
think you're the only person I know who trades a 33, but that's
I
great.
know, I know. And it works. Well,
Hey,
let's put it on
whatever
a
works
one
for you.
minute. You'll see it probably bounced off of it on a 1 minute. So let's
Let's see.
go and let's go long now. Let's go long.
Which color is your 33?
Pink dotted right here.
Pink dotted. Okay, got it. So yeah, so it bounced off of that. And yeah, your short was because of that, and because you saw. Well, I can't say the big money level now because we're doing very quick in and out trades.
The futures is making me turn into a degenerate scalper.
Yeah, you're scalping. I thought I was a degenerate scalper, you know, for holding trades for 30 seconds or whatever. But you're getting there.
I
Futures will
know.
do that to you.
Yeah, but I think it's to me it's more management of the
Yeah,
trade. Like I will manage it right away so
yeah,
that I am not allowing the risk to get too high.
out of control. I like that. Yeah, when I discovered that I was able to short without having to borrow shares on the futures, I was like, okay, forget everything else. That's where I need to be because I once borrowed shares, got in a short on a small cap,
Okay.
made a profit, but because I didn't check how much the cost was gonna be, I ended that day red, and I was so pissed. I was like, never again.
For
Um,
borrowing shares, it's usually only overnight fees.
no, I was using so I wasn't in the US at the time. I was
Okay.
using an offshore broker, and they were very expensive to borrow, and they were hard to borrow. And I finally got them because I kept on trying. There was this. And finally got them, and I ended the day red. A combination of, and I was scalping, so you know, the
In and out of
commissions
yeah.
plus the commissions plus the borrow fees plus everything, and I ended the day red. And I was like, man, I can't do this.
So that was a pretty quick reversal there.
Indeed. So now we're going to retest that pivot point.
Yep. So it pulled back And now we're looking to see, so if we back it out on a bigger time frame, it looks like a bull flag, right?
Yep. So it might just be a continuation of trend, or we might go and retest those highs because 79.50 is right before 80.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how we react to that.
Yeah, that was fun.
It's always fun making profit, I'll tell you that.
For sure, for sure.
It's always fun. Yeah, trading is my favorite video game.
So now on the 5 minute, we just had two that came back. It hit that 8 EMA. Oh, I just got stopped out again.
Yeah.
And so we hit the 8 on the 5 minute and it bounced up, but it looks like we are still pulling back a bit. Let's go to that 3 minute chart. Yeah. But it could come back and test over here and bounce up. Let me check on the silver SLV. They have not sold it off. So confirmation would be if we break above up here and continue.
Sorry.
Everything okay?
Yeah, my phone slipped away.
Like on the ES, right? So if we come back and we look at this is the micro ES, it's continuing to move to the upside right there. And I could adjust this and say, where do I?
And since, at least from my perspective, silver has taken the lead, are you more, is your risk more towards risking on silver or gold?
Oh no, now I would say silver because gold is still not giving me full confirmation
Yeah.
to the upside.
It's kind of hovering and digesting. Now, my other question is, and we were talking about that recently, is say we didn't have this war thing happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would, how do you think, or what would have been your perspective on gold? Because I was saying yesterday that, hey, war or not, we would have seen huge profit taking like we saw, and we would have seen a lot of rotation. Now, probably it would have happened higher up, and we would have gotten such a sharp move down. But what's your opinion on that?
Well, I see that they're selling the dollar. So the dollar, the move. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit the silver futures here. I was going to
No
put
problem.
USD. Do we have it?
It would be. I don't. It's usually the DXY, but you
Right.
can. I
I
don't think
don't
you're
know
gonna
if there's
see it there. You probably
futures,
have to
forex,
put it
commodity,
on.
cryptos. Huh. Hold on. Can we look at DXY?
We have a lot of assets that are blocked
No.
on
Yeah, so we
on the
can't look at
platform.
it. I wanted to see if there's one that we can pull up. Dollar. No.
Not sure there's a
Oh, there
dollar
was a
index there, but we can
dollar. Wait.
dollar
Yeah.
index. Got it. You got it.
Okay.
Nice. Well, you're teaching me things.
I didn't know that. Yeah. Beautiful. I don't think we can trade it,
No, we probably can't trade it, but at least we could look at it.
but what if we go to a 1 day? Let's come here. And 1 day. Okay.
Look at you. Now you know your way around perfectly.
Yeah. So here, this looks like a nice bear move, right? I mean, they
Yeah.
sold this up here and it's starting to come back down. If we look on average, right, for the pivots and the pivots and camarillas and everything, usually we don't get to the outside boundaries, right?
Hmm.
It's right here we did and it sort of went sideways. So when we're looking at this, we can see, okay, where would I anticipate for it to go this week? Maximum down here, but usually it doesn't hit the extremes. We're usually inside sort of this trading channel from the prior day. Yesterday was a heavier sell-off day. What happens when the dollar drops? Inflation, commodities, stocks go up. So
Yep.
seeing that the dollar is dropping is good for the
Well, it's
stock
good
market.
for it's good. Yeah, it's good for the indices and the overall equities market.
It's bad for our
Um,
pocket because our purchasing power goes down.
Obviously, inflation has been rising, especially with those prices. There's a lot of calls for stagflation these days, so we'll see if we get a combination of, stagnation in the overall economy. Hey, look at you. Um,
You didn't
Jane's
know I
on
entered over
just
here, did you?
I didn't even see it. It was too fast. You're just printing money everywhere. Are
Well,
you
of
the
course,
Fed?
this is in the
Are you
simulation,
the Fed?
right?
Are you the one? Do you have the money printer?
This is in the simulation, right? So it's like, it's always that way. All
Well,
right.
yes and no. You wouldn't be here if you couldn't make it happen for real.
Oh,
So,
I know. But what I mean, it's like when you're using yeah, yeah.
of course, we're all
Um,
super profitable in the simulator. My first year
that's
trading,
what I'm saying. It's
I
like
made six figures in
it's
the
always like that.
simulator.
Um, but that's just reading the charts, right? And it's also I'm learning this. I'm learning everything slowly
Yeah,
on the future side. But it's
of course.
applying my knowledge to the charts and the speed of a different instrument.
Indeed.
So,
You said you found a time frame that worked better for you, and I think it was pre-market around 8. Is it 8:15?
yep. And then I started trading this morning with my girls in bed at 7. And then, yeah, it was not good. So,
Hey,
that I'm getting my flow back. And I agree with you. It's
nice.
like, actually, I'm finding that really like 9:50 to
Mm-hmm.
about 11 is better for me. The 9:30, but I'm learning the tricks of what I use with trading stocks and different levels and different moving averages. I'm applying it. So I'm transitioning over, still using stock instrument tools
Mm-hmm.
to trade, which is cool. So
Yeah,
it's figuring it all out. But
yeah, of
yeah,
course.
right now. So like I think we might be going to 698. Let's bring it. We've got this one right here though. This Camarilla. So this puppy might be a little bit of a speed bump. So would I want to get out just before then? Yes.
Yeah, let's see what we get. We were talking about that those 80 levels, just before. So, um 980 is an interesting level to look at. But as we were saying, it's great that you can, and it's good for anybody who's watching. The skills you develop with one asset can be translated to another one. So, you're trading equities, and now you've moved on to futures. Well, not haven't moved on. You're just dabbling, because I know we're not going to take you away from equities completely, or maybe. Um, yeah,
It's
I don't know if
easier though when you're only looking at like 3 or 4 instruments. Using
yeah.
AI to create any of these tools. You know what, Barry? No, I'm not using any AI tools. Listen, there was a book. It was, like, what's the one that's not Ripley's Believe It or Not, but Guinness Book of World Records.
Hmm.
And it was talking about the best supercomputer, or it's like National Geographic's Book of Random Facts, that the biggest supercomputer cannot process as quickly as the human brain. So the human brain will never replace AI bots because for trading because our brains analyze so much information so quickly that a human is better than a computer.
All right, let's. I know a lot of people are willing to debate you on that one, but at least as of yet, I know the human brain cannot. The processing we do, at least, especially on a discretionary basis, AI is not able to do that, and we can. It's very important to apply context in trading, and so far, at least publicly, we haven't seen an AI be able to do that. But I will say that I do use AI a lot, and I have used it not only to create trading tools, which maybe I'll share with everyone tomorrow, but to review my trading and to have an unbiased view of my trading. And AI has caught bad habits that I didn't even notice I had. So I think you can definitely use it to supplement your trading and use it to create tools. I know Daniel, for example, has created a lot of interesting indicators. Daniel is our Discord mod. He's been trading for over 15 years, so a lot of experience there. So yeah, AI can't replace your brain, but it can definitely help you, better your trading.
For sure. For sure.
Yep. So we have just 1 minute left on
Any other
the
questions you guys
stream. Any
have?
other
Yep.
questions? Um, can ask Jane, how does she keep printing money back to back? Is she the next Fed chair? If yes, please remember us here at the Fivers. Cut those rates, put them to minus
There we go. Locked
minus
out.
100.
11 o'clock,
Nice, nice,
new
nice.
30 minutes chunk
Yep.
coming up. Coming up.
Nice, nice. Well, as usual, Jane, this was a super fun one. Glad to see you taking profits after profits there, and
I got
I'll
my,
see you in the next one.
I redeemed myself from this morning. I'll say that.
That's great. That's great. That's great.
All right.
Awesome.
Have a great one. I'll see
Thank
you
you so much.
next Tuesday. I'm just trying to think of all this. You're confused. 30% consistency rule on a 25K.
Okay, so quickly, the 30% consistency rule just means that you can't have a single trade account for more than 30% of your profit. So easiest way to do it is divide the total profit by 4, and just your best trades can't be more than that trade, right? That's it.
There you
All
go.
right, guys, we'll see you soon. Take
See you
care.
next week. Have a great one.
You too.